Hi, Trent.
Hello, Peter.
Yes, how are you?
I'm well, Peter. How are you?
I'm good.
Fantastic. Glad you could make the workshop.
Yep. Here we go. That's me.
There you are. Essential services. I think I saw your profile in Meetup. You're in mortgage broking, is that right?
Essential services and mortgage broking, Trent. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. I've a lot of my career's actually been in financial services. So done digital marketing for a lot of the world's larger, well-known banks, and mortgages
Yeah.
was a large part of that. So a lot of my clients have since I shifted to sort of smaller businesses, a lot of my clients have been mortgage brokers too. So, uh,
Wow. And
yeah.
Trent, with that thingy that I'm seeing in front of me, how to add 15, 30K to your business.
Hmm.
Obviously, you must have a business, right? If I'm just starting out,
Hmm.
would whatever you're offering be of any help?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, it depends. I think it depends.
For
Do you have?
example, the essential services business,
Hmm.
it's more like a franchise model, but I
Hmm.
started that September last year and I've already got over 130, no, over 300 business partners.
Yeah.
The mortgage broking thing, I am only just starting out. So
Yeah.
don't know where that puts me in all of this sort of thing.
Yeah. Right. I mean, basically, what I'm sharing today is a framework that's really designed to help uh, most businesses, particularly service businesses,
Yeah.
to attract the right kind of prospects and opportunities into their pipeline.
Yep.
Uh, B, create sort of strong connections with cold digital leads by
Yes.
setting up the right sort of automations and systems. So to sort of do that without manual follow, because that's the key. When you want to scale, you've got to have systems that are doing that sort of warm up work for you. And so that's the second part. And then the third part is to lead your prospects sort of through the sale process and onto what I call the promised land, you know,
Yes.
which is your promise. You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
they got a problem, and how you lead them through your own framework and to that problem. That's kind of what I give my clients as a framework to do all of those things.
Yep.
And that's what I'm going to share today and in the coming days to give you and give everybody that wants to join the framework, first of all, the sort of the overview, the framework, and then I've broken that down into 9 steps or
Right.
phases. And so I'm just going to share it with people for free. Let's see how that resonates with people. But it's sort of a step-by-step, 9 step process. I think, like, have you got experience with mortgages?
Um, in terms of finance, I've worked for two of the big four banks. I've
Yep.
done insurance, I've done property. I haven't written a loan. That's the only thing. So
Mm.
at
No, that's fine.
CBA, for example, I was a home loan service representative. So from the moment someone gets their letter of approval, hey,
Hmm.
you've been approved 500, blah, blah, blah. From that
Yeah.
point onward, our team took over, from debt consolidation, top ups, partial discharges, full discharges, settlements, mortgage maintenance, all of that. But I've never written a loan from A to Z. That's the only thing.
That's yeah, that's not a problem, I think.
Which is where I need a mentor, and I'm engaging a mentor at the moment. Because just
Right.
like GPs, when they finish medicine school, they've got to do a bit of an internship at a hospital. For me, my internship is I've got to be under a broker for about 2 years, so that I can write loan, pass compliance before I'm released onto the public and I don't cause mischief.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they've got to be careful, obviously, because it's such a regulated industry.
Yes.
And I've as I said, I've worked in it for a long time, so I know a lot of the challenges and hurdles that go along with it. But
Yep.
I mean, look, I think what is your current marketing plan in terms of launching your brokerage?
So I think when I was in broker training school, pretty much everyone's main concern was lead generation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've got about five, like family and friends and all those sort of things. But then you start asking yourself, what happens after the five?
That's right.
So I start to think, okay, I've got to be able to generate leads if, because I do networking a lot, but
Yeah,
that's not good enough. You've got to be able to get something in on a consistent basis, but
that's
they have
right.
to be quality leads. Like I've heard horror stories where brokers buy leads, converts them at less than 10%, and the place they buy from actually sells the same leads to other brokers. So sometimes
Mm,
they've called and the person picks up, oh, I just spoke to a broker an hour ago.
yeah,
So
that's right.
there are horror stories, but I'm not saying anything here. I mean, I'm coming just to have an open mind.
Yeah,
When you touched on social media, that is, I have to admit, my weak. You know how some of them they say to you, so Peter, what's your area of opportunity or what's your weakness? My weakness is I'm not too strong in social media. I have a
yeah,
LinkedIn account, I have a Facebook account, but that's it. I don't
yeah,
do Instagram, and I did definitely avoid TikTok because someone said, the Chinese can monitor your stuff if you do TikTok. So
yeah.
I avoid TikTok like the plague. And
Yeah,
yeah, and that's it. That's the extent of my social media. I have gone to YouTube workshops just to have a look
yep,
at the potential, but
yeah.
yeah, that's as much as I know social media wise. So I
Right.
I think I can improve in that area. Yeah, as a mortgage broker, I need to improve in that area.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, look, it's early days for you, right? Um, and you're learning the ropes around the actual mortgage broking side of things. There are, hundreds of different ways you can get into generating leads. Um, I think the key is probably not to try to master them all at the same time.
No, I'm just starting out one at a time, but I'm
Yeah,
also aware of the ROI as well. Because
yeah,
when you're starting out, like you're not flush with funds that you can just splash anywhere, nearly willy-nilly.
that's
So
right.
it all comes back down to return on investment, which is important to me. And
That's right.
I don't believe in people telling me, oh, it's a numbers game. Not, no, I don't believe that because I'm not wasting time calling dead leads or something. I don't play the numbers game. I play quality leads, not
Yeah.
just quantity and calling anyone and everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, a key part really of I mean, we've got you're the only attendee today, so
Oh,
I can
wow.
give
Aren't I
you
lucky?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's day one, so hopefully we'll build momentum. But look, I think for you personally, that means we can sort of shape this session around you, really. Um, I think initially let's address
Sure.
your current challenges,
Yeah.
and I will sort of share some ideas. I think I'll probably just tailor a bit of a workshop to address your issues. Um, the key thing for you is you want to get a constant flow of leads. So you don't want, like most brokers and most service businesses rely on referrals and repeat business. And so you don't have that, which means, as you said, you've got your friends and family, but that's not going to last for
It's
long. So
limited.
that's limited, yeah. So
Mm.
and they may give you some referrals, but really, if you want to take off, it's such a noisy market these days. You need to you need to kind of identify your niche, like where you want to kind of be a presence,
Yep.
and then you need to work out inside that niche what are the real core problems that you can solve. Um, you want to work out what is the solution you can bring to those problems. Yeah. Once you work that out, ideally, you want to look at your own process. Yeah. So a lot of mortgage
Mm.
brokers come to the market and they'll say, we got 30 or 40 or 50 different lenders. So we'll get you, a decent, a suitable rate, and we'll take care of it for you, and we'll negotiate on your behalf, et cetera, et cetera. And they all sort of offer the same thing because it's so
Mm.
highly
Yeah.
regulated. You can't really kind of offer anything exciting or compelling or
Or
say
different, sort of. Yeah.
or different. You can't. It's so generic, that you can't promise any different results, particularly in mortgage broking.
Trent, on that question, in
Yeah,
broker school,
Mm,
They asked the one question. They said, well, there's going to be 20,000 brokers you're competing against.
mm,
What's going to be your point of difference?
that's
And no
right.
one in the class answered it but me.
Oh,
I
really?
Yes,
Fantastic.
my point of difference is I help them by saving them on their everyday bills. They see
Mm,
value, then they ask me the question. So, what do you do 9 to 5? And then I start talking about mortgage broking. So it's like I gain a foot in the door to get that
hmm
conversation going. And then
mm.
once I get the conversation going, I've helped them with a mortgage. Then I double back and review their services and then ask for referrals. And when
Interesting.
I said that to the trainer, he was surprised because no one else answered the question.
Great.
How am I going to stand out from the 20,000 other brokers?
That's
So
great. That's great.
that's so in answer to your question, what's your marketing plan? That's sort of like what I'm looking at. So it's going to be two sides of the services. So mortgages and essential services. I understand not everybody in Australia has a mortgage, but
Mm,
everyone in Australia has essential services like their mobiles, their internets, their electricity, gas,
yeah,
their in home insurance. I know in every household I've got one of those services that I can help with. That's the
that's
difference.
that's right. And so
Yeah.
let's take a look at that essential services for a moment. Can you tell me a little bit about that business? How long has it been established? How many clients or customers do you have? How's that going? What's the health of that business?
So it's actually been it's not something I invented. It's
Uh-huh.
been around for 30 years actually.
Hmm.
So I think there's a saying, if a business is in business more than 5 years, it's not doing too bad. Because
That's right.
somebody says 80% of businesses go out of business within the first 5 years. So
That's
I'm
right.
doing something okay.
Yeah.
I actually saw this sort of thing about 10 years ago. Back
Uh-huh.
then, services was very limited to, I think, just landlines and something else. So I left it at that and then revisited September last year because they introduced insurance. My background, I've worked for QBE and RMA, so it straight away made sense. Jump back
Mm.
in, and currently, like I mentioned, I've got about so it's been 14 months. I've got 130 business partners and 1,350 customers.
Fantastic.
Bearing
Yeah.
in mind that a household can have five services as a minimum. Like most families have two mobiles. They've got the
Yeah.
internet, the electricity, or the gas, and the home
Yeah.
insurance. Some people have investment properties, so I can help them with landlord insurance. So
Interesting.
usually a house is at least five services. Yeah.
That's great. And so can you tell me a little bit about so when you say you've got 300, what, 350 was it?
No,
Business partners?
300 business partners at the moment.
300 business partners. And so the business partners, they're, as I understand it, that's the services that you're representing. So you're kind of a broker for
Oh,
350. Is that right?
they're like guys who saw this as an opportunity are doing it like me, but they're actually under me. So
Oh, I see.
whatever they do, I get a small clip of whatever
Oh,
they do.
that's nice. That's nice. That's nice.
So it's like
Is that like a multi-level marketing
it
for a
is
set?
MLM, but it is not pyramid. A
No,
lot of
it's
people say
good.
to me, "Is it?" No, it's not. Why? Because whoever is under me,
Hmm.
if they put the effort in, they can earn miles more than me.
Yeah, right.
Does that?
Yeah,
Because people who say it's a pyramid say, I say a pyramid is a company like the CEO always makes more than your normal office workers, your normal team leaders, etc. The
yeah,
CEO of the company will always make more. That's a pyramid. The guy at
yeah,
the top makes more than the guy below him.
yeah,
Here, the guy
right.
below me, if they work hard, can make much,
Yeah.
much more than me. So it's not a pyramid. Yeah.
No, no, sure, sure. But so it's an MLM. That's an interesting model.
Yeah.
Um, and so you've got, and so that, did you say 150 clients or customers?
So 1,350
1,350. And are they like yours, or are they kind of in your kind of
in
multi?
my whole network, my whole
Yeah,
network.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah. Interesting, interesting. Now that sounds like a really interesting model.
Which means that I can tap into them if I need to. I know I've got a lot of broker friends who finished broking school and then went out and, oh, where do I start now? I don't know anyone. Or I used to drive taxis. I don't really know many people.
Yeah,
Or I was a pizza delivery driver yesterday. I don't know
yeah.
many people to help with their finances. At least here, during broking school, I did nothing. I didn't do any paid ads. I did nothing,
Mm,
just casual conversation helping people with the bills. And I got asked for, hey, can you look at my mortgage? Three people asked for a mortgage review and
interesting.
their mortgage is coming out of the fixed rate in 2025. So they want me
Yeah,
to review their mortgage. So other brokers were spending money on leads, spending money on social media advertising, spending all this. I didn't
Mm.
spend anything. I just spent 5 minutes talking to someone.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the way to do it when you're beginning, because that's you want to get that cash flow,
That
you
traction
know.
go.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
In terms of kind of growth and moving.
That's where I need to look at different strategies, and that's
That's,
why I'm open to it. But then I've got to also look at my budget and everything else. But in
yeah.
time, it will grow. I mean, I'm confident in time will grow. I do have a sales background,
Oh,
so
good.
I'm not shy of sales.
That's great.
I
Yeah.
know some people, oh, I don't like sales. Well, you don't have to like sales, but you should be able to do sales.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
comfortable with sales. Yeah,
Totally true. Totally true. So really, so that gives me an idea to go back to your kind of challenge around getting the leads. You need to basically work out what is the one approach you want to take
mm.
uh, to get not just leads, but to get highly qualified leads.
Qualified leads, and the ones
Yeah,
where it's like the old analogy with the tap. I turn it on when I need more. I
that's
turn it
right.
off if I don't.
Yeah,
If it gets too much, sort of thing. That's in my ideal world. Is to
yeah,
be able to turn on a tap,
yeah.
get qualified leads,
That's right.
and then okay, if it gets too much, turn it off a bit. That's the
Yeah,
ideal world for me.
that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's exactly what you want. That's what I've been doing for, for 20 years, is working to kind of build the systems that create that tap. I mean, look, I tell you what, why don't I take you through a bit of my
Sure.
presentation?
Yeah.
Uh, that will tell you kind of what my systems are. I do a few things. So I have agency services where we do what you need in terms of we just generate qualified leads, and then we manage them on your behalf so that they're getting nurtured regularly. They're getting emails every week. They're getting calls to action to book in a meeting with you when they're ready. But obviously, as you know, in mortgages and mortgage broking, the time to actually take action is often months. It's often sort of
Mm.
six to
So you've
12
got to build
months.
that sales pipeline. I'm aware of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to
Like
build
in
the
the
pipeline.
funnel thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to build that pipeline, and you've got to bring them down the funnel so they're sort of like aware, and then they're sort of interested in you and researching, and then they're ready to go.
Mm.
And that can take 12 months. So the really important thing, particularly if you don't have, the referrals and you don't have the repeat business, key thing is to fill that top part of your funnel and just be on autopilot, be nurturing them and staying front of mind, so that as they go through their journey towards, I mean, they're researching the property market and they may be doing it for 6 months. So once as they're going through that journey, they want to be getting emails from you every week with a helpful bit of advice, with a bit of a story about you. Do you know what I mean? Just building that relationship on autopilot with everyone that you bring in, because a lot of the leads that you bring in are not going to be well suited to you.
Mm.
And a lot of the leads that you bring in are going to be looking at other competitors of yours as well. So once you've got the opportunity to communicate with them, you've got to kind of maximize that in order to make sure that you're getting qualified leads, and in order to make sure that you're actually warming them up. Because the problem with the problem with the leads from the internet, from digital
Mm.
sort of sources, even from social media, but especially if you don't have social media, because it means there's very little of yours that they can find online. Um,
Mm.
and these days, we all sort of research things online. We want to find out, if you got some YouTube videos, we'll watch your YouTube videos before we kind of come and do business with you. Or if you've got a, LinkedIn account, or X or Instagram, we'll kind of scroll your stuff. And
Mm.
so people want to feel like they know you a bit, sort of through that online behavior. If you don't have any of that kind of set up and you're not doing any of that, really, like, your best kind of approach is an automated leads management system where you're at least sending emails out every week. That's
Yes.
that's your first thing. And then as soon as you've got that set up, you know, you want to get to the point where you've got you've got a framework that you're sharing on social media. a lot of the challenge around social media for people is they don't know what to say. So,
Mm,
they can post something, but if you're not actually saying something like useful, valuable, interesting, engaging, you'll post it and you'll just hear crickets, and you won't get any engagement, and you won't get followers and all of that sort of thing. So the key part of what we do is we help clients to define, as I said, their own sort of system. And then just going back to our conversation about how do you stand out in a crowd when the market's so heavily
okay.
regulated?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got to be compliant. So that's been my job for 20 years, working in big banks, etc., is working out how do we sound more compelling than our competitors when compliance, and in banks it's the worst, because everything I ever wrote, I was a copywriter for many years before I got into strategy and then consulting.
Yeah.
Everything I ever wrote as a copywriter had to go to these teams of lawyers for compliance.
Mm,
They put red lines through everything, and so over time you'd learn what not to say and what you can say, and what where we can kind of negotiate and push back a bit against the lawyers who just would prefer not to say anything at
mm.
all appealing. um and so you get a feel for that. But I worked out also a great system for helping my clients to stand out. And it's not in the results that you promise, because they've got to be pretty similar to everybody else. The way you can stand out is to turn your sort of process or system that you use to service your clients, you turn that process into your unique service offering, your USP.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So your process itself becomes your USP, and that's kind of what my entire uh, sort of my core system that I share with clients and deliver for clients, along with our agency services, and which I'm developing into a coaching program now. It's called the Advice Advantage. And so it's where you turn that system of yours into a competitive advantage that makes you effectively a market of one, because nobody else is doing that the
Mm,
way that you do it. The great thing about that is you then also have a framework that you can talk about in social media. So once we define the framework that you're going to create, or sort of define for yourself, and typically you'll do it the way I've created my framework, which is three sort of areas. So for me, it's attract, connect, and lead. So attract qualified clients, connect with them on autopilot, and then lead them from their problem to the solution. Attract, connect, lead. And each of those has 3 steps, which I can show you today. Each of those has 3 steps. And so I share this model with my clients, and then I help you to create your own version of it, so that you can then go to the marketplace and you can say, okay, this is the problem that we address. So, in your case, the problem is, uh, you know, your clients don't know where to get the right mortgage for them. Yeah, they don't know where to begin. It's a long, kind of hard journey to research the market and to understand what the options are, and then to sort of know what they can get in terms of the equity they have and the size of the loan they want, and how long do they want to get the loan for, and all those sorts of things. Plus, those contracts can be quite risky, and if they sign up to the wrong deal, they may pay hundreds of thousands more over the term of the loan than if they have somebody advising them and they get the right deal. So even if it's a little bit more interest, if it's a better structured deal, you ultimately pay less over the long term in the life of the loan. And so all those things are the problems that your clients have. The promised land, or the solution that you want to take them to, is basically the opposite of that. So it's where they've got a loan that really suits them, and a structure that has been structured in a way that matches their needs, and ensures they're not going to be paying over the sort of the optimum level over the course of the loan. And that sort of legwork is taken out of the equation, because you take care of that for them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you basically want to work out. So that's the core problem. what are three problems within that sort of process that you're going to help them solve? Like, as I
Mm.
say that, do any ideas come to mind over what those problems might be?
Well, as a mortgage broker, I'm solving the problem of them not knowing where to turn to get the mortgage that suits their needs. So some want just a better rate, some want one of those loans that they can redraw without any costs, blah blah blah. Whereas
Yep.
essential services, since COVID and everything, people's bills have gone up. Like 1st of July, electricity bills have gone up across Australia. So, and there's a lot of busy people that don't have time to look at their bills. So I pretty much save them, and I do get lots of better value as well. So I don't change anything with people. Single mum was with Telstra. 30 seconds, I looked at it, and her three mobiles saved her $720 a year for life. She's still with
Mm,
Telstra, didn't change anything. Another guy, home insurance, he actually got it through CommInsure, which is the Commonwealth Bank insurance arm.
mhm,
They gave him a sum insured of 200,000, but that's not going to cover you for a three-bedroom house in Penrith in Sydney. You can't
mm,
rebuild a three-bedroom house for 200. So I said, how much do you want? He said, oh, how about 490? So that's more than double. I
mm.
offered to get him 490, and I brought his premium from 159 to 137 a month down. So he saved $22 a month for life, and he
Yeah,
got
right.
more than double. That's what I mean by I help people, because there's a lot of people, very busy people, that don't look at what they're
That's right.
paying for effectively.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. And I think you're in a great position, particularly with AI coming along,
Yeah.
is that you're going to be able to just automate so much of this and kind of create like a basically it's like an AI comparator bot, isn't it?
Mm,
Where you just set up the AIs to kind of keep an eye on all the different offers and rates kind of across the different sectors.
mm,
I mean, you could scale that if if you kind of got across the options and sort of educated yourself on how to do that. So can I ask, in terms of like your essential services clients,
yep.
what is a sort of a lifetime? What is the sort of the annual value of one of your clients?
You mean when you say annual value, how much do I make from a single client?
Yeah,
If it's a single one, not much. For
like
me, it's more like it's a residual thing because I get paid monthly.
yep,
So let's say if a client, I might not get very much, and it's hard to put a dollar figure down because one house, one house might have three services, another client might have six, or another client might have nine.
yeah.
So it's
Have you
hard to
like
pinpoint
an
it.
average? Have you kind of averaged it out across the?
So the essential says I get an upfront and a trail, similar to broking. So I'll give you, let's say, three services. I get $75 upfront when I save them.
Yeah.
And then I get a trail, depending firstly on the size of the bill, depending on the type of the bill. It
Mm,
could range anywhere from $1 a month to $5 a month, let's say. So
okay.
I know
So
it's not
you,
much, but I've got a friend who's been doing it for 14 years. He's got more than 40,000 bills under him,
yeah,
and he makes well over 20 grand a month.
yeah,
Passively, not actively, passively, because
yeah,
every time someone pays a bill, he gets a
mm,
small clip.
yeah,
And
right.
he's already on track this financial year, 1st of July 24 to 30th of June 25, of $1 million passive income,
Yeah,
because so many
fantastic.
people are paying their bills, and he just, just clicks it, gets
Yeah, yeah,
the clip
too
of the
easy,
ticket. That's it. Yeah.
too easy. And so how are you currently getting your essential services clients?
Mostly word of mouth,
Yeah.
um, but organically as well. Like I told you, I've got the 300 business partners. They know
Mm,
people as well. It's not just me. If I was doing this by my own, it's going to take very long. So
mm,
those three business partners also know a couple of other people. And
mm,
then when they save those people on their bills, I get a
mm.
small clip as well.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And so, but presumably you want to kind of grow your own client base or customer base.
Yep.
Um, and so do you have a plan for how to do that?
Um, well, being out there more on the social media would help, but
Mm,
with this franchisee type essential services, you can't really advertise. Like, you can advertise yourself on Facebook, You can talk about what you do on LinkedIn, but you can't go over the top and like shout from the rooftop, "Hey everyone, I'm an essential services broker. This is what I can do." You can't really do that sort of thing. Just like what you were saying earlier about the lawyers, how they go through
Yeah,
your copyright. You can't do this, you can't do
yeah,
that.
yeah,
We've
yeah,
got
yeah.
also certain guidelines that we can't do. We can't just, go out
What
there.
about
Otherwise, someone with a deep pocket can just advertise non-stop, and they jump on TV. Hey, I can save you on your bills, blah, blah, and then jump on Channel 9, which are running like they've got some sort of what is it? 9plus.com.au if you want to advertise your business or something.
yeah,
None of us are allowed to advertise on there like that.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
So,
then there's restrictions, just like you were saying about the lawyers earlier. Yeah,
yeah, well, the thing is, you can't promise to get them a better rate, can you? You
no,
can't promise to get
it's
better.
the two thing are parallel. Like this
Yeah.
one and mortgage broking has the same single thing that's called bid. I don't know if you've heard of it. Bid, best interest duties. As a
Yeah,
mortgage broker, you are not allowed to help someone if they just don't want what you offer.
yeah,
You can't make promises that you'll get a better rate. None of those. Same
yeah.
thing here. I can't make promises I'll get you a better bill. And if
That's
let's say I see you're on a slightly cheaper bill, even by 1 cent than what I can offer, I leave
mm,
it at that. I
sure.
don't just, oh, I'll help you, just come over, blah, none of those things. So both of them have best interest duties. Yeah.
Sure, sure. That makes sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. I mean, I think the approach in terms of look, I tell you what, let me take you through my
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah.
Tell
That's
you
why
what I
I'm here.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm
Yeah.
here. To look.
And
Yeah.
let's do that because I could give you a lot of I could give you a lot of help. But let me tell you kind of what I'm about and how my thing works
Sure.
and then we can take from there. I'm going to be on here every day. So if you're the only person that shows up, then you're going to get a lot of free help, Peter.
Yeah.
And so let's kind of start with telling you kind of what I'm about. Let me go there. Okay, so can you see my screen okay? I
Sorry, I
think
just
that
had a bit of a sneeze, so I had to put myself on mute. Yep.
that's fine. Yeah, no worries. But you can see the screen fine?
Definitely. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay. So we'll just skip that for today. So just a bit of background on me, Peter. 20 plus years in digital marketing, extensive experience. Worked my way up from sort of, as I said, award-winning copywriter through to content strategist. And as digital marketing has evolved over the last 20 years, so I've kind of evolved with the industry, got to the point where I was running workshops in major banks. NatWest is a UK bank, and
Yes. Yep.
I've been teaching my Attract, Connect, Lead system for years now. And NatWest flew me up and down the country, sharing my teachings with over 120 of their kind of experts and product owners and stakeholders and content creators. And so this is the result of many years in this space.
Can I
Uh,
just jump in just one quick
yeah,
second?
yeah.
With your large number of years of experience,
Mm.
what do you say to people who say, "Oh, digital marketing has its place"? They say if you do relationship marketing and you interact with someone, the
Mm.
chances are they'll trust you more and they'll probably engage you more. Can digital marketing sort of replace that interaction to some extent?
Yes, yeah. Can't replace it. Can't replace it,
Mm,
but and this is the key, like to my entire system, is most let's say brokers that I deal with, and I've had a number of kind of mortgage broker clients that we've generated the leads for, managed the leads, et cetera, and sort of all kinds of loan, business loan
mm,
clients, and all sorts of finance and financial advisors. The key thing they all find before they come to me is their referrals and repeat business close almost without any effort. Do you know what I mean? They come with so much trust already established that they're closing, almost all of their referrals and repeat business kind of in their sales process. And they all tell me that their digital leads are absolutely dreadful because none of them close. And that's across the board. Now, the problem is not the digital leads. The problem is the systems they've established to filter the digital leads so they get rid of the vast majority of them that are never going to be qualified. So
mm.
that's the person that's looking for a mortgage of, X, but they only have a deposit that is, that gets them 50% of that. Their income, they're self-employed or whatever.
Something like,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And it's just never going to work.
Mm,
So the key is and that's about 60%. And we talk about this like later in the presentation. That's about 60%. So the problem for a lot of brokers and all sorts of service providers is they don't have the systems in place to work out who is in that 60% that's never going to
mm,
qualify.
yeah.
So they bring them all through their sales process, and they all get to, sit with half an hour or an hour, with their team, and their team goes through this whole kind of workload
Mm,
dealing with people that are just never going to qualify. Do you know what I mean? And so that's a huge opportunity cost where that team, or if it's, a one-man band, a solo operator, that's a lot of time that you're spending sitting and talking to bad leads when you could be out generating more high quality leads.
yeah.
And that's the kind of the key problem that I look to solve with
Yeah.
my clients is we get rid of that 60%, and then we do some really interesting things with the remaining sort of 40 odd percent. But I won't share that just yet. We'll get to that
No.
a little later in the
Yeah.
presentation. So just these are, does that answer your question, Peter?
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
it's sort of it resonates with me because
good.
you want to spend your time as productively as possible, and not waiting through going through shifting and sorting the ones that probably were never wanting a mortgage in the first place, or just plain don't qualify, and
Yeah,
you've devoted all that resources. And even in broking school, they did say a lot of mortgage broking work is unpaid work. um,
yeah,
but
right. That's right.
if I can limit that unpaid work, the more I can limit, the better. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly it. And what I just outlined to you there, that is the primary reason that a lot of mortgage broking work is unpaid work.
Mm,
So the more we can install the systems into
yeah.
your business that get rid of them, the more we can get rid of your unpaid work and get you focused on the
Mm,
stuff that pays you.
exactly.
That's exactly what my system kind of is about. We'll get to that though. We'll get to
Yep.
that.
Sure. No
I think
worries.
you'll like that section. I think you'll like the whole thing. But
Mm,
so anyway, so all these all, many of the brands I've worked for over the years. But then after the GFC, I basically focused on financial, and I wound up spending, the next sort of 12, 14 years really focused on sort of global banks. And so there are a lot of banks here. There are also a lot of smaller brokers and consultants and advisors that I've worked with as well. Um, but these banks, some of them have gone in for 18 months. I was with Barclays for 18 months, and was with NatWest for 18 months, and then some of them I'd go in just for a few months and kind of fix them up and like take on project by project. But it's extensive banking experience, and a lot of that, as you can imagine, is mortgages because they're really the bread and butter.
part of, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now, something interesting is on the side in 2014, I was living in London from '08 to about 2018. And when I was in London, kind of as a side hustle, I'm really interested in art, and my family kind of collects art and has interests in art. And so I had some good relationships in the art market. I set up Belasco and Co. private art investment office. And so that was an advisory office that basically helped art investors to buy art through tax effective vehicles, particularly SPVs, special purpose vehicles, which are structured out of Luxembourg, which allow them to do all sorts of interesting and effective things with their art. And so that was kind of a side hustle, which eventually I realized I wasn't really established enough in the art world to be operating at this level. We were
Mm,
dealing with, extremely wealthy clientele, extremely sort of high end, $10 million pieces, and I simply didn't have the resources to sort of operate at that level. So I pulled back from that, and just focus back. But when I was there, I was sort of advising various advisors. I was an expert panelist on various panels. Here I'm talking about art and collectible investment strategies. And I'm teaching, these are the audience is sort of accountants, wealth managers, financial advisors to ultra high net worth and high net worth clients. So I understand what it's like to
Mm.
be an advisor and to have an advisory business. And after I left that industry, I thought, well, how do I merge those two passions? I've got 20 years in digital. I built up experience to understand advice and advisory, particularly in the financial services space. And so I merged them. And so I created the Advice Advantage. And that's what this seven-figure plan kind of comes from. The seven-figure plan is a 12-month program that I offer to clients. We can take care of a lot of the agency services, but I also want to teach clients sort of all of the parts that you can do yourself that will sort of massively leverage any work my agency might do, or that you can just take care of yourself if you have the inclination and the time to sort of learn the principles around putting your own ads together, or managing your own CRMs, or so kind of managing your own pipeline, or you know becoming kind of insta famous in your little niche,
Mhm.
Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook. This is what I'm building here, is a framework and a program to help you do that. So in 2025, I'm going to be offering not just the done for you, which is all of the agency work, and that's PPC, Facebook ads, SEO, all that
The
sort of
whole
thing
lot.
to help bring qualified leads into your funnel. In 25, it's going to be done with you as well. So it's going to be a coaching program where you come along, and we'll do sessions like this, but with a big group, and people will have their questions, and I'll present my 9 steps in my framework. And so that's kind of what this series of
Mm.
workshops come from. But for now, I'm just focusing on this smaller target of adding 15 to 30K to your business in 90 days. And so, typically the assumption there is that your clients are going to be worth, around 2 to 3, maybe up to 5K per
That's
year.
mortgage broking, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you bring in the trail commissions, and it can be very healthy, and particularly it all starts to kind of stack up. And so what my system's designed for at the kind of entry level is we focus on just getting you, 3 to 5 new clients each month. And that's just the sort of the target. And so we've got to say, okay, well, if that's the target for converted clients, what's your conversion ratio? And then your conversion ratio tells us how well you're nurturing your clients when they come into your pipeline. So we help you kind of set up those emails so that you're automatically nurturing them and sharing FAQs, and addressing the objections, and sharing some stories and case studies and success stories, so people understand that A, you can help them, B, they like you, C, their objections are addressed, and all that happens without you lifting a finger. And so by automating that, again, we're getting rid of some of that work that you don't get paid for, so you focus on the stuff that you do. So that's just the overview. I won't dive too much into that right now. So we've addressed the question of how long you've been in business. You're pretty new to the mortgage broking, but you've been in the essential services for now, how many years was it?
So I saw it 10 years ago. I did it for 2 months, and then
Yep.
I took it more seriously as of September last year.
Okay. So I mean, if we add that up, that's sort of a year and a half, I guess, ish,
Something like that. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the essential services business well, and you kind of knew. So in terms of the mortgage broking, have you kind of identified a niche that you're going to target?
I think I have to, because I see mortgage brokers out there focusing on lawyers, focusing on doctors. I honestly think I might focus. I can't focus on bankers because I'm a former banker myself, but bankers tend to go for the bank's own mortgage
Exactly.
products. So
Yeah,
I can't
exactly. And they'll
focus
have
on bankers.
friends. They'll have friends that'll kind of be
Yeah.
advising them, and they'll already be quite savvy.
Yeah.
So you're better off going for a niche where they're not savvy, because there's going to be much more demand for your services.
Well, I guess the people in my essential services, the three out of that 300 odd, what do they call it, business partners, some of them are nurses. So I could target nurses,
Yep.
because
Yeah.
nurses, you wouldn't say not all nurses are financially literate. I mean, no disrespect, but nurses I could target.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, we can't.
I have a couple of GP friends, so doctors is not out of the possibility. But then I'm competing with other big brokerage firms that just solely focus on, doctors.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really you can't really call it a niche as such because everyone out of that 20,000 has already thought about it and a couple have already targeted. So yeah.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Look, a niche or niche or niche, it doesn't mean there's no competition, right?
Mm,
In a niche. It just means you're only competing within a narrowly defined market.
fine. Yeah.
So there's far less competition, which is the first good thing, and there's much more uh, appeal and resonance with your target market, with what you're saying, because you're only sending out messages designed to reach that person. Do you know what I mean? So
Mm,
if it was nurses, if you decided to be, in fact, you'd probably go medical, right? Because
yeah.
nurses
Med
might be a
might
little
be
bit
better.
narrow.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a few brokers that kind of specialize in medical, and I've seen the success. There are a couple around that are like really big, really successful, as you mentioned. So that shows that niche works. Yeah.
Mm,
There's nothing wrong with going in and competing in a niche that somebody else is competing in, because A, that niche works, and B, if it's well defined, and if you're targeting the right problems,
mm.
you can compete very effectively, even with other players, even with other bigger players.
And
Uh,
now that you're saying it, I was thinking maybe even teachers even because I've got a couple of friends who are teachers and
yeah.
my dad was a teacher. So and t most teachers are on 100K plus anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, the makings of a mortgage has already they've ticked one box in that,
Mm,
their income level is not that bad.
yeah.
So yeah. Or I
Yeah.
could target mine as those fly in, fly out because I'm currently doing a little bit of sales for tradies as well
Yeah.
and miners have high disposable incomes.
Hmm.
And usually they waste it as well. They don't know
That's
what to
right.
do with them. So
That's right.
I
Yeah.
could target miners as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of disposable income with the miners.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who wound up working in Western Australia. He's not a miner, but he's working with one of the mining groups. And the stories he tells me, they're earning so much money, and they're
Mm.
blowing so much money as well. So
Like this lady who just changes, those tires on those big mining trucks,
yeah, yeah,
gets 120K a year just for changing the tires.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
it. That's
It's a
not
lot of
bad.
money. It's a lot of money in that
Yeah.
industry.
So I could
Um,
target that one, I guess.
you can
But then
target that.
depends on the marketing and all that old jazz and how successful I can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. So we'll get to this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and it sounds like you're in a really good
I'm
position to.
just brainstorming as we go along.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
good. That's good. Well, it's just you and me today, so
yeah.
we can do that. But it does sound like you're really going to benefit from the program that I'm going to be doing over the coming days.
Mm,
I actually have an exercise that I'll do with clients, which helps you to define what is the right niche for you. We
mm.
won't go into it today because
No worries. Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have time, but we can go into this. Maybe we can go into it tomorrow. Um, when will
So
be the
you're
right?
saying, Trent, you're going to be like this is for the next 6, 7 days, did you say, around this time?
It's going to be every day, sort of over the Christmas New Year period, except for kind of closer to the Christmas. So we'll probably go like from today. We'll probably go for another week. Do it like every day, and then I'll kind of stop. I'll stop the program, closer to Christmas itself, and then we'll pick it up after Christmas. Do a bit between Christmas, New Year. Then I'll probably stop it again, and then kind
Yeah.
of after New Year's Eve, a few days after that, bit of recovery time, and we'll
Yeah.
pick it up again for another week there. So
Yeah.
yeah, there should be at least sort of 10 to 12 days, I reckon.
Yep.
where I'll be on here sharing everything I know. And then, the idea
Mm.
for me is if I think that my team can help you with the agency services, I'll then invite you to have a conversation, and we can look at how that might work and what that might be able to do for you, and whether that's a fit. And also for the people that kind of come onto this over the next few weeks and think that was really helpful, that sparked a lot of ideas, that helped me define my business and get a really good plan together. I'm also going to offer an ongoing coaching program where you'll have access to me probably on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. We'll have a group, a Facebook group, where you can kind of connect and sort of, ask questions about the program. And I'm basically going to teach you the program that I've designed, which will give you a really good framework to kind of build and design your business in a way that you're doing it right, so that you're getting rid of
Mm.
everyone that wastes the time, and I'm basically going to teach you how to jump all the hurdles that get in the way for everybody that doesn't really understand this industry. And that's a lot of people. A lot of people don't really understand it, and they don't know why their leads suck. They don't know why they're not getting any engagement on social. They don't, do you know what I mean? There's just so many challenges if you don't know what you're doing. So they're my two offers. It's done for you. We'll take care of your ads. We'll bring in the leads. We'll manage them. So you're only getting qualified leads, and they're the only people you're talking to. And by the time they talk to you, they know what you're doing and they're interested. And if that might take months. Do you know what I mean? But we'll get to that. We'll get to that later. So
The thing I
let's
like
just
so far from what I'm hearing from you, Trent, is you're a former copywriter. That's what I like because, at least you've got the gift of the gab, to put it that
yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not just a copywriter either.
Mm.
I got a master's degree in journalism.
Mm.
In the beginning of my career, I was a reporter and broadcaster at radio, TV and radio for the ABC. Uh,
Mm.
went out to Dubbo and was a reporter out there in the bush, and so I'd done several years sort of in media. Had camera training and voice training and all that stuff, which is really helpful now in the digital era. And I was in PR for a few years, so kind of understand how to spin stories to get publicity and all that kind of thing. And so there's a lot of background there. But the copywriting really was the sort of foundation of my digital. Um, and so a lot of what I share with my clients is about sort of how to communicate effectively. Like, we take care of the messaging for you in our ads. So we'll kind of, work out the right ads, and we'll create the landing pages, and I review the landing pages. So it's all the right copy sort of on your funnels. And
Mm.
that's a really important part of getting rid of the leads that aren't going to be any good, and making sure the ones that are really, it resonates with them and it brings them through your funnel. And then making sure that your emails really resonate and sound really good, and that does the job for you. So yeah, my copywriting is sort of transferred to my team through my leadership, and then I can't really teach copywriting sort of as easily as I can teach strategy. So this
Mm.
coaching is really about the strategy, and what are the strategies that you need to implement, and what are the systems that you need to implement, like in your business. And also, what are the frameworks you need to use to think through issues like marketing and niching, and how do you define your niche? And I've got a process to help you do that. But that's just the very beginning. That's step one of my 9-step program. Step one is called Perfect Avatar, and your
Mm.
avatar is your customer avatar. And so I have a whole kind of process to help you nail who is your customer avatar. And then the step two is empathize offer. So once we understand your avatar, we then need to understand what are the emotional triggers, what are the struggles they have, what are the struggles that nurses have, what are the struggles that teachers have when it comes to this particular service of getting their mortgage. And the more you kind of dial in your understanding of your niche, the more you can kind of you know touch upon those really emotional drivers for them, the more you can empathize your offer. And so that comes from my copywriting years, is understanding, how to write words that resonate with the emotions of your market. Because
Mm.
people buy for emotional reasons, and then they justify it with logical reasons.
Mm.
most people don't understand is it's emotions first, then logical. And so a lot of your competitors are trying to go with logical, but they've got nothing that resonates on the emotional level with their market. And so,
Mm.
and that's when it becomes really generic, and a lot of businesses fail when they get that bit wrong. But anyway, let's keep going.
Yep.
We got another 10 minutes.
Yep.
Um, in terms of, I mean, I don't think there's much point covering the gap issue today, because that's all about, what have you been earning from these clients, and I think for this, well, I mean, it's an interesting idea, right? So this program is designed to add an extra 10, 15, up to sort of 30 for an established
Mm.
business. But I think for yourself, we'd focus on the sort of, 10 to 15K a month. Um, Now, when you're kind of coming to this program, are you thinking mortgage broking, or are you thinking essential services? Like if you were, because it's probably best to think of one uh,
Mm. I'm
first.
thinking mortgage. Why? Because if it was face to face, I would lead with essential services. But
Hmm.
if it's more like social, I lead with the mortgage. And then when I have that conversation with them, and I can, from the mortgage, I can extract this essential services, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
yeah, I would
yeah,
focus on them. And obviously the mortgage broking would definitely pay more than the essential services.
yeah,
Uh, but the
yeah,
only problem with the mortgages is people eventually pay the mortgage down.
yeah,
So a mortgage broker's trail slowly goes downhill as they pay off their mortgage. Whereas
yeah,
essential services, people's bills tend to go up, not down. So the trail
yeah,
for essential services tends to go up, but it's relatively small compared to a mortgage broker. Yeah.
yeah. On the point of the mortgage and people paying down, it's also worth bearing in mind that you'll also get the those who are remortgaging to kind of buy up, and those who are kind
Yes,
of moving up and so they're a hugely profitable kind of
exactly.
in your market as well. So it
Yes.
becomes, the key is to not only target those new buyers. Um,
Existing buyers that are maybe even looking at pulling some equity out,
yeah,
investment properties, blah, blah, blah. Yep,
exactly.
definitely.
Yeah. And so kind of working out the different segments of your market and kind of having and targeting each of them with the right messaging. So if we were running ads for you, for example, we'd work out, okay, is this ad going to target the new buyers, or do we want to, target, the upscalers, which is
Mm,
the target market here? And then we would have, certain messaging that resonates with each of those segments. And, if you've got like the website, typically your website would say, you'd have two buttons, I'm a first time buyer, or I'm remortgaging. And
yes.
then depending on which they press, we take them on a whole different journey, sort of through your website and through the emails. And if you've got some video trainings, but, we'll get to all that over
Mm,
time. My program's all about that kind of thing. So let's get, I want to, so look, I think, do we want to do that? No, we won't go to that because I don't think we've got enough time today. I think we'll just probably get, I'm just going to show you like my system. Yeah.
yep,
So the idea is, as I've already mentioned it, is the first section is attract. And
yep,
so attract is, as I said, it's getting those ideal customers, the ones that you really want to serve, the ones that you can serve, and the ones
yep,
who are going to resonate with you, and you're going to resonate with them. You like them, and they can afford you, yeah, and
yes.
they're willing to pay for you. So really, those critical three things, um, and the three steps that I've created in that are: number one, as I took you through already, perfect avatar; number two, empathize, offer; and then number three is alchemize system. And I haven't really talked about that bit yet, but that's the key piece that I'm probably going to cover that pretty soon in the next couple of days, because that's the key, especially for financial services. Because remember how I was talking about, you can't promise something that makes you stand out from your competitors,
Mm,
and so your process has to be the thing that looks really exciting and interesting and valuable in your marketplace, and that defining what that is for you is what I call alchemized system. And so they're the first three steps of my program in the attract phase. Then we have the connect phase, as I mentioned, where we've got these quality leads, or we've got these leads. They're not all of them necessarily going to be quality leads yet, because when we run ads or when we do socials, we're attracting the best we can, but we will still get a lot of people who aren't qualified and they're not suitable. And that's why this next stage is so important, because the first step in the connect stage is what I call fine-tune funnel. And so that's where we set up the systems to filter out that 60% that aren't going to qualify, and then do a couple of certain things with all the remaining ones. So you're maximizing the ROI on your ad spend or whatever your investment is to generate these leads. We do a few things with your kind of automated system to kind of maximize the ROI and make sure that we're identifying where people are in the funnel, so that if they're higher up in the funnel, we're doing one set of actions. And if they're lower down in the funnel, we've got another set of actions that grabs them and brings them into a sales process as quickly as possible. So that's the fine-tuned funnel. And the automate authority, that's really about kind of your CRM and your automated communications for those leads that are at the top of the funnel. They've qualified. We've gotten rid of the time wasters and the tire kickers. So it's all the leads in your system that are all qualified, but they're just not ready yet. And they'll be ready in 6, 9, 12 months, maybe longer. And so we want to automate your authority, and we do that through emails, we do that through little video trainings, and we do that through kind of possibly even sort of low ticket products that you might put together, like a little $50 training program about how to identify, what criteria to look for as a medical practitioner in your first home loan. Or you might do that same thing for, in your investment property application, mortgage application. Yeah. So we're really targeting these products, and they become excellent marketing devices. They make a little bit of money, so you're getting an ROI. So your ad campaigns become funded, which is what we aim for in this process. But that's kind of more advanced stuff. We don't have to talk about that. So that's automate authority. And then the third piece in the connect is rally tribe. And this is all around kind of building your online following. And the best way that I've identified really in the last year, the last couple of years it's been strong, but it's really gaining traction. And that's to create sort of an online community, typically in a Facebook group. A lot of people now are using a platform called School, which you might have heard of. And there are others, sort of Discord, and there are various kind of platforms. It doesn't really matter what platform you choose. What really matters is the structure of the content that you share in your community and how you share it. So what I'm doing today is sharing content for free, because I know that you may have a need for what I do. So I build the relationship by giving you value at the front. And so you would do the same thing in your community. So you kind of build a community and you start sharing what you know. And it's really good as a feedback loop as well, because when people come into your community, they're asking questions. And some of the content that you produce is going to get a lot more engagement than other content. And so that's really valuable content in the marketplace. So there are a lot of elements that makes that beneficial. So that's the connect phase. And then the third phase of my model is the lead phase. And so the first step in lead is fast track content. And so we're looking at different strategies to make it really, we kind of want to systemize your content creation. So I've created a range of templates that just make it really easy, particularly if you want to use something like ChatGPT to kind of do the copywriting for you. I've got a bunch of prompts. So we've got the templates that you use to understand, right, it's Monday, what goes out today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's a different template each day. And then you can either fill in the blanks, from your own knowledge or your own research, or you can just say to ChatGPT, fill in the blanks for me, and you get this amazing content. And you can just start to put out loads of content that's really resonating with your market, and it takes almost no time to do it. And then the scaled sales comes kind of off the back of that. And that's really about, once we're getting you sort of consistent qualified leads coming into your system, you need to remove the bottlenecks that are slowing down like your delivery of your services. You also need to remove the bottlenecks that slow down your sales process. So there are various ways. I'll just take an example. As I mentioned earlier, the mortgage brokers, before they come to us, they've got 60% of their leads are just rubbish leads, and yet they're still taking them through their sales process. And it might be an hour that they spend or lock in before they realize this client's a dud. They're never going to qualify. This is a waste of time. So one of the first things we'll generally implement for our clients is we'll say, okay, look, we're going to put in a 10-minute qualifier call, so that even when we get rid of that 60% and we're only talking with the 40% that are left, anyone that books a call, they're not going to get an hour straight up. First, they're going to get on. And by the way, we're not letting them book a call until they fill in a short questionnaire. And that's what gets rid of the 60% and brings the other ones through. But even once they've done that, we want you to take sort of 10 minutes just to jump on the call, have a quick chat and say, hey, you're great to talk. I just want to make sure that what we do can help you. So I'm going to ask you a few questions about your situation. And if I think that we can help you, I'm going to invite you to book an hour-long call, and we're going to roll up our sleeves and do the work with you. And if I don't think we can help you, i.e., if I don't think they're a decent lead or prospect, then I'm going to point you to someone else who I think can. And so that way, the scaled sales process in my system is really about doing everything we can to make sure that every minute you're spending in any kind of sales situation, you're maximizing the value to yourself of that time you're investing. And so that's one of the key things. And the next level of that is what I call sell-in workshop. So that's what I'm sort of doing today. And this is I'm just trialing this in Meetup. But if I wanted to take this and sort of expand it, quite rapidly, I would run Facebook ads to a landing page that offers this workshop. And so I'd sort of start to fill it up quite a lot just through the ads, and then each month I would probably run a paid one where it's like maybe $50, so that everyone that's been coming to the free ones through the weeks would then know the kind of value that I deliver. And I do a paid one that addresses a challenge that I know everybody needs to solve. And then those paid ones are funding the ads that are bringing people into my sort of workshop pipeline. So there are various ways to structure this. In your situation, you would probably put together a workshop that addresses those issues for your niche, and you wouldn't obviously sign them up, but you would get them at the end of the workshop. You'd say, if you want my advice, book in your call. It's a 10-minute call. We'll make sure we can help you. And so from your workshop, you're then getting, multiple bookings of potential clients, because the people that are showing up to workshops, they're usually down the bottom of the funnel. You've got a problem, you want to get it solved, you're looking for solutions. And so they're the kind of people you want to be dealing with, because they're going to be the shorter time frame. Does that all make sense, Peter?
Yeah.
Yep. Do you have any questions about that framework?
Not really, other than something in the back of my mind is asking me, I wonder what Trent's going to charge for his program.
Well, look, I mean, you don't need to worry about that yet, because for now it's all free. And so right now I'm going to be sharing everything I can possibly share, and you don't have to pay anything. Down the track, it'll probably be a few grand for a 3-month program. And then that'll be weekly get-togethers, and that'll be access to me through WhatsApp, and that'll be membership in a group. And then I'll probably have a consulting option as well for sort of higher budget or clients that are ready to invest a little bit more in my personal support. And that'll be more expensive. That'll be sort of packages of. My consulting is usually sort of $1,000 an hour. And so I won't charge that much. I'll bring it down for sort of a package. But what I really want to do is, I want to have 100 people, such as yourself, Peter, in a program that is really affordable, you can see the value, and we actually do the work together. You don't actually need, someone like myself or anyone else to sort of do all this for you. It's also
Mm,
easy these days that I would much rather have 100 people and I'm just helping them do it themselves, rather than me just sort of consulting to maybe 10, 15 different businesses each month and kind of, doing it one on one. Do you know what I
mm,
mean?
yep,
And then ultimately AI is going to come in 2025 and 2026.
yep,
And it won't even be me anymore presenting this. It'll be my avatar, but nobody will know that it's my avatar because it'll look just like this. It'll talk just like this. And the whole business is going to change, but everyone's going to be doing that. You'll have an avatar. You'll have an avatar that's, sort of doing workshops. To
mm,
go back to the sort of the workshop component, the selling workshop. I mean, that can be your avatar. In 2025, 2026, if you've got this framework down, what you can do through AI is just going to be mind blowing. But most people don't
mm,
have this stuff kind of structured in a way that they can take advantage of what's coming. And in fact, what's
mm,
already here. It's
yep.
the AI is pretty amazing already. But so that's the kind of key thing we want to do. So that is to answer your question. Yeah, it's around 3 grand for 3 grand for a few months currently. Like I haven't even decided finally,
Mm.
but I want to make sure it's affordable, um, and that it really kind of gives a lot of value.
I'm
Because
assuming around that three is when people are doing it with your assistance during those 3 months. Obviously, those who want like a done for you system, that's going to cost them more, obviously.
Oh yeah. So that's not the ads, but if like we've got a whole agency offering, and that really depends. That's very flexible. That's very flexible. It depends what you need, and sort of what your budget is. So I can take you through a whole different presentation all about our agency offering. And if if and when you're at a point where you're like, Trent, I just want to get leads. I want to make sure they're good leads. I don't want to mess around. I've got a bit of money to invest, and we can commit to doing this for a few months, and just show me what you can do. I could take you through that. Uh,
But then would it be like a cost per lead model, or would it be okay, I'll see if I can maybe get you five a month and it's a little like a little package thing, or have
yeah,
you
so
sort
it's
of
it,
decided?
it's basically, well, look, it varies. It varies on what services we offer. Um, I think if you're at a point where you're looking for an agency to support you, then let's have a chat. We'll book in a time. I'll take you through the process and tell you about what we can do, and we'll lay out a little plan for you so that we can, I can present you the plan, and you can say that sounds really good. Let's go, um, and we could do it that way. And we have a basically what we'd do is we'd set a target for how many leads we're going to get you per month. And then we'll say, look, if you're in a position to spend X on these ads, we'll target this niche. We'll get you this number of we'll get
Are
this
we
number
talking
of
hundreds or
leads.
thousands per lead? Just out of curiosity. Like
No,
some
it's not.
places have
Yeah.
quoted me, well, one place has quoted me $10. I haven't tried it yet, but it's $10 per lead. That guy said to me, for 25 leads I provide you, the package is 250. So I worked that out. That's $10 per lead. Another place says, okay, for what is it? For $5,000, we can get you 500 leads. So it's sort of like I've had different figures quoted. So I don't know. I haven't tried them. I don't know how qualified those leads are.
They're not going to be
Just
qualified.
no,
They can't be.
yeah,
There's no way. There's no way you can qualify a $10 lead.
no,
There's no way. Um, I mean, if you could qualify a $10 lead, the whole industry
would be
would look,
shaken up.
well, it would look completely different. Do you know what I
Mm,
mean? It would look
mm.
completely different. Um, Really, for sort of qualified leads anywhere in the financial services, but particularly mortgages, you're looking at, if we can get you leads at around, depending on things like your niche, um, your kind of proven ability. It's going to be more expensive for you because you don't have you just can't point to track record. You know, you don't have reviews on Google. So all
Mm.
those trust factors you don't have.
Which is
Uh,
where I'm going to lean towards my mentor, who's got more than 20 years experience as a mortgage broker.
uh-huh.
So he said that if I come across those deals that are, outside the box or something that I'm not, I can always lean on. That's why he's my a mentor. That I've spent nearly a year trying to find the right mentor. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but you
so
don't want
that's
to tell people. You don't want to tell
no,
people
you
you're
don't know, no. But
obviously.
then there's nothing stopping you from gathering the information. I think what industry they call it, like doing a fact find, and
Yeah.
then have a separate one-on-one with the mentor and
Oh yeah, sure.
strategize and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure, sure, sure. And so what, does he take a commission? Does he take a cut
Yeah,
of your?
yeah, he gets a cut. Like I think
Yeah.
he gets
Yeah.
20% of whatever I make or something.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I
I
know
mean,
that
if
for a
he's,
fact that I can convert because then I've got like a backup to lean on. I'm not
Hmm.
doing it myself,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
I just have to work out based on whatever I have coming in. Can
yeah,
I afford whatever you charge per lead, for example?
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's the
Um,
only thing.
that's sure. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, look, by all means, try the $10 leads. I mean, see how you go.
Hmm.
Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. For $10 leads, you don't want to be like talking to them all personally. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
You want to have like an automated thing that is just maybe you put them in like an email database and you send out emails, and they might be every week, or they might be, you might start with sort of an offer that you
Hmm.
send to all these leads. And it might be, for example, it might be a mortgage health check. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're offering a free health check of your mortgage. Give us your details, and I'll review your mortgage, and I'm going to give you a complimentary recommendation if I see an opportunity for you to take thousands of dollars, off your mortgage. Something like that. Mortgage health check. Um, and then those who come back to you on that offer, again, I don't think they're going to be well qualified. I think you'd need something to get rid of the 60%. So ideally, that would be a questionnaire. So what you
Hmm.
would do is you'd send out an email that is the mortgage health check, take our quiz, go to this link, take our quiz, and see what kind of reduction you could qualify for, or see if you
Hmm.
qualify for our complimentary mortgage health check. And then you take them to, like, given that you kind of want to do this on a budget, you take them to like a Google Forms. You'd set up a Google Forms, and it's just like a 10 question thing. And it's like, what's your equity? What's your salary? What's your current interest rate? And then you'd have some other criteria in there as well to make sure they qualify for your time. And then from those people, you would talk to the ones who qualify.
Hmm.
And that way you can try this $10 a lead situation and
Hmm.
possibly make it work.
Yep.
That would be my recommendation for that one.
But for your one, do you have a rough idea of how much per lead, considering what you do? You can weed out
Yeah,
that 60%. You can provide more qualified lead. Are we talking in the hundreds or how much
yeah,
would be per lead?
hundreds. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and probably less than 500 actually. Uh,
Hmm.
well, so typically less than 500.
You probably already know since you said you're already helping mortgage brokers. I'm sure you know how much they're being charged per lead,
Well,
I'd
it
say.
it 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 depends on the broker, and this is why I said,
Oh,
because you don't have the track record. So a big part of how much you're paying for leads, remember the leads are the ones that convert sort of on the landing page, they give you their details.
yeah.
So when they come to the landing page, I understand all the things we need to do to maximize the number of clicks from the Facebook ad. We want to convert the maximum number of those clicks into first name, email address, maybe phone number, maybe just, click to call now. Do you know what I mean? And
Mm,
call your kind of reception or your phone system. One of the keys to getting that maximum number of leads from that kind of exercise is the trust factors. X number of Google reviews. Here's some of our case studies. We helped Susie get this X, Y, and Z. And here's John, and John saying Peter's amazing. He got me this fantastic. So that stuff is the most important element
mm.
of a landing page, and almost the other stuff doesn't matter because everyone's largely offering a lot of the same things. So 30, 40, 50 lenders, and we'll do the legwork for you. We'll get you a great deal. It's all
That's the
expected.
same.
It's
Yeah.
all expected. Do you know what I mean? And so the really important bit is that trust factor of having done it before. So one thought I had was, if you've got this mentor and he's taking a cut of what he works on, he's kind of like a business partner, isn't he?
It is. That's how I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a business partner, and he's kind of, he's part of your delivery offer.
Yeah.
So in theory, you'd need to check this with him. In theory, you should be able to showcase some of his success stories and say, here's some of the success stories our team has delivered. Do you know what I mean? What you could do is you could include him. You know what? You could do like an about us on
Mm.
your landing page. You can showcase yourself. You can showcase him. Now, this is all just spitballing. It's all ideas. So I'm not,
Yes.
this is all just
No.
you know,
Yeah.
creative solutions that you can
Yeah.
consider. I'm not telling you to do this.
Mm.
But depending on the nature of your partnership or business relationship, you could do that. And ideally, if you could get some of his success stories and case studies on your landing page, that brings down the cost per lead of your campaign. And that pretty much applies across the board, no matter what you're doing, whether it's sort of ads or paid social, or we're promoting social media
So what you're
posts.
saying is it could bring down from say 400 per lead to maybe 300 or 200. Is that what you're saying?
Probably not that much. It'd probably
Not that
bring it
much.
from probably bring it down from, and again, I don't know, because there are different factors. So it's what niche are you in? We haven't established that yet. What is your sort of track record? Again, it depends on what we actually have to work with. So I
Yeah.
can't actually give you a
It's hard
figure.
to. Yeah.
I can't give you a figure, but here's what I can tell you. It's not uncommon for mortgage broker clients to come to me, and they're paying north of 1,000 for a lead.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very competitive. It's very
Can
competitive.
I ask you,
Yeah.
would your system or your plan
Mm.
or whatever you want to call it, was it something advantage? I remember you said
Advice advantage.
advantage plan. Does it allow you to segment the lead? So let's say, I say I'm only focusing on people with or who wants to take up a 500K plus mortgage as opposed to someone
Yeah,
under that. You can do that, right? But
that's right.
will the
That's
cost be the same or is it different? Or once again, you can't probably say, right?
well, so that's this bit, the fine-tune funnel. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Which is basically exactly that. So it's getting rid of the 60%, and then it's determining what are the messages to go to the remaining 40%. So it's
got it.
segmenting the qualified leads is in the fine-tune funnel phase. Now there are different options there. So we can be more proactive and hands-on, particularly once, but again, look, it depends on, and this is why I would normally only kind of have this conversation as part of our kind of agency process, but I'm happy to answer your questions just today, just to give you kind of an idea of sort of how it works. It would really be kind of depend on what is your budget like for the ads. So what is your ability to kind of, how many, and this is probably a good question for you to kind of consider, is what is the maximum number of clients you can service in a month?
I was going to get to that too as well. So I think when you first hit the world of mortgage broking, I think most brokers are happy in their first 6 months to be able to convert or to settle four four loans per month in their
Yeah,
first.
right.
They'd be very happy,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
that's effectively one a week. Because as you said, even when you start a loan, it doesn't mean it's going to go straight away through. There's lots of
Sure.
things along the way. That's
Yeah,
why I think even in broker school they said, yeah, if you in your first month if you can do one, that's good. But in your first 6 months, if you can average 3 to 4 a month, that's good, very good. So
mm,
if I'm
yeah,
going by that figure and I'm not trying to be, big-headed or something, if I'm aiming for that, then yeah, I try to convert for, and having a banking and insurance and a property and a sales background, I
yeah,
actually feel I've got a head start on most people who come from different industries, have no idea
yeah,
what's going on. So I think I've got
yeah.
a head start.
Look, I think you do. I think I think given that you're just starting out, but you bring a lot of that kind of expertise already, it makes you a perfect candidate for the advice advantage because that's what this program is all about. It's about taking your expertise
Mm.
and giving you frameworks to leverage that expertise in the marketplace to set you apart from your competitors. So it's particularly useful for you because you don't have those success stories. And so really your only option for building trust is to be putting out like valuable content in the marketplace.
But like using your example, I can leverage off that mentor's um,
Well, if you can do
20
that,
years plus experience. And
yeah,
we've had a casual conversation, and he was comfortable with that because he, the, he was using languages like, as part of the team, you're going to be working with me, you're part of the
exactly,
team. So his brain
exactly,
thing is he's already thinking I am the team. And if I'm already
exactly.
part of the team,
Perfect,
nothing wrong with, leveraging off
perfect.
his skills,
No, no, not
experience,
at all.
testimonial. I can see he has testimonials on his website as well.
Perfect, perfect,
Yeah,
perfect. Look, that's fantastic, and it's smart for him to do that because he's going to make a cut um, of every deal. So
yeah.
so that's going to make it cheaper. That's
Mm,
I think that's going to make it cheaper. Um, but again, we can't definitively give you a price.
no,
Uh,
no.
what we can do is we can work out a plan, get the details of who you want to target, what we can do on the landing page, um, what kind of strategy we're going to put together. And then I can say to you, look, we can get X number of leads that we know are interested in what you're offering, either now or down the track. And if this plan doesn't get you X number of leads every month, we'll work for free for the next month until we get you this number of leads. And
Mm,
so that would, typically we might say, 20 to 30 leads a month. If you have a budget of X for Facebook ads or PPC ads, or if it was a certain market, I don't think this is going to apply to you, but if it was a certain market, it might be LinkedIn ads. I think in your case, we'd be looking at Facebook ads or PPC. We'd work out what kind of budget you want for the ads, and then we'd put together a plan with a view to getting you, the 20 to 30 leads with a sort of an ultimate cost to you that is in the hundreds, and not the top end of the hundreds. So probably I would target around the middle, but it's too early days to be able to kind of.
mm. And we're talking, say, let's say 500, for example. We're talking per month, right? 500 per month, or is that
Yeah.
500 per something?
But so that is per lead.
Up per
Uh,
lead. Okay, right.
yeah, yeah. And so the idea is you would pay a retainer plus the ad spend, and then at the end of the day, that's going to be if you divide that figure by how many leads we get you, you're looking at X hundred. But it's just too early days to kind of
Yeah,
give you.
yeah, yeah. But
You know
I
what I mean?
also
Give you a
have, I
plan.
guess I can also say to Trent, because I'm just saying, I just want, say, five. I don't need 20. Then obviously my costs per lead, I'm assuming, would go down, or is it still the same?
No, no, you cost. Well, so I mean, it would still be
Or
it would still be X
oh,
X
okay.
number of leads. sorry, it would still be X $100 per lead. If anything, it would be more.
I
Um,
have a feeling like that because when you do it over a large amount,
mm,
then you've got economies of scale
precisely.
and yeah, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. So I have a funny feeling of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we just have to look at, I mean,
The
I
other thing
think,
I was quickly thinking, Trent, was
yeah.
let's say I say to you, Trent, okay,
Mm,
let's go with 20.
mm.
But then 20 times 500, that's a decent amount actually. 500, that's 10 grand.
Well,
I
that you would,
don't think many new brokers industry have a spare
no,
10 grand lying around.
you wouldn't want to go for that. You would want to go for something lower scale. But that's why I said to you, how many clients would you want in a month?
Yeah, that's what, and I was saying to you, I think about four would be enough for me for at least the first 6 months.
Yeah. And I think given that you've got, if you can get the testimonials, if you can get that kind of trust factor from your business partner, and we can put that into a landing page for you, and we can design it all out so that it looks like you've been in business for, years and years and years, and you've got all these great testimonials, then it's going to be much easier for us to say, well, okay, you don't want that many clients, so we can kind of we bring down the number of leads we're going to get you each month, and we could bring it, I mean, probably you're looking at like, I mean, maybe around 5K as a ballpark, but again, that's not a quote,
Uh,
because there are too many variables.
what about the other dilemma, Trent, I have is if I do work with him, he says, you're welcome to use our brand, our website, everything. So
Ah,
effectively, I'm coming on to the scene with somebody's website. That is that going
you
to be
know,
a big problem, isn't it?
I mean, that's up to you. That's up to you, but you're not really, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. Particularly if you're thinking of footing the bill for the ads, because then you're just building brand equity for him.
Mm,
Uh, and a big part of what you're developing here,
mm.
on top of us generating leads for you, particularly in this advice advantage system, if we then kind of get you into creating a Facebook community, and you've got your own kind of frameworks, and I help you put together kind of your own system, and you kind of get on social media, and you might do
The other
posts.
thing I was thinking of as well,
Mm,
Trent, is
yeah.
obviously if I decide not to build his brand and I decide to strike out on my own website, now I've
Yeah.
got to find out, okay, where am I going to come up with the money for my own website, my whatever,
That doesn't,
and
I
all
mean, the
that sort of
website,
thing.
that bit's not really that hard. Um, you can if you spend a few weeks kind of teaching yourself how to build a website, you could do that yourself. Um, or if you've got some budget, you could get a team to put that together for you fairly affordably. So that's not the main thing. I think the main thing is your leads, how you're
Mm,
generating leads, how you're managing leads, and how you're converting leads, qualified lead, how you getting rid of the 60% that are going to be wasting your time, and then how you're
mm,
managing the remaining 40%. And then when they're ready to kind of go and have a conversation, they've found their, dream home or their investment property or whatever, then how do you make sure that you're the guy they call, instead of calling, Combank or, Joe Blogs down the road, et cetera, et cetera.
mm,
That's far more important than that doesn't actually rely on a website anywhere near as much as it relies on other factors, like how we're
mm,
doing your ads, what's the landing page we're using, and really importantly, what is this automate authority that we're using to make sure that the leads that we capture for you, they kind of feel like they know you over time, so that by the time they're ready, you're the guy they
mm.
call. So these are the kind of key areas that I've got laid out here, and that's based on 20 years experience in this. So trust me when I say to you, you don't need an expensive website. It
No.
just needs to look clean and simple and showcase testimonials and case studies and success stories, and preferably Google reviews. If you can do that, if you can get,
Mm,
here's the key thing, Peter, if you can get your business partners kind of trust badges, all those case studies and testimonials and Google reviews, if you can get that on your brand, under your brand, you know, then that's your ideal. That's the most long term, the most profitable setup for you, because we can hit the ground running on the lead gen, and we can make sure that we're bringing in qualified leads at a reasonable cost, because we've got all those trust factors to work with. So we're going to be converting a higher number, which means we don't need to invest so much in the ad spend to get the same number of people in, which is the problem if you've got no trust. You're just investing a lot, you're paying a lot more in the ads, because a whole lot more people need to show up for you to get one to sign. Do you know what I mean? Or you get one to give you their information. So that's I think that's the ideal scenario for you. So if you want to have a chat with your mate, see if you can do that, and then let me know. And if you want to talk about, like, are you in a position to, to get ads now and start bringing them into your system?
I'm going to say no, purely because I'm not in a position to convert them. Because to convert them,
Mhm.
I have to know how to submit a loan from A to Z, which I don't. So
But
I'm
aren't
not in.
you using your mate for this?
Yes,
Yeah.
but any ad that we do, any social media is about me. It's not going to be about that mentor.
Right.
So if it's about me, and when clients have that conversation with me, they'd
Mm.
expect this person to know what he's talking about, which I'm not at that comfortable stage yet. So being clear, transparent, and being honest to you, the answer would
Yeah,
be
of
no.
course.
Yeah,
Oh, look, that's
I
fine.
can't convert them yet.
That's that's
But
fine. No, that's
six
fine. I
months
mean,
down the track, I'm confident in my ability that I can convert them. And it
mm,
only makes sense to start doing lead gen and taking on these once you know you can convert them without even thinking about it. At the
yeah,
moment, I
yeah,
have to think, okay, which lender do I put it with? What options? Because everybody that is inquiring about, you've got to give them at least 3 options for which
yep,
they pick from. That's an industry requirement. And
yep.
at the moment, there's the thinking part. I have to think which, um,
I mean,
yeah,
this is something for you to decide for yourself, obviously, Peter.
yeah,
The thinking part, like typically with the mortgage broking clients that I've had,
mm,
they would not necessarily suggest the providers uh, until after they've had a think about it and done a bit of research, after they've got their clients' information.
yeah.
So
I haven't even done one client yet to say
yeah,
I'm confident I know what I'm talking about, which I
yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And
have
so
an understanding from my
yeah,
broker training,
yeah,
but the doing part is different than the just learning theory. I've got
yeah,
to
yeah,
get a few under my belt. That's why my first thought was I want to go under this gentleman's mentors brand,
yeah,
learn as much as I can in that 6 months, then
uh,
strike out on my own because he has said there is no handcuff clause. You can jump whenever you want.
yeah,
And when I jump and then I do this, then I'm not building his brand, I'm building my brand.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
at the first part, I still have to learn how to do it. I
yeah,
don't know how to do it yet.
based on what you've said, I mean that makes sense, because he's going to help you a lot more if you're under his brand.
Yep.
Um,
He might not even share those testimonies with me if I decide I'm going to strike out on my own brand. Then really,
well,
you're not part of the
that's
team. You just want to do your own thing,
well,
even though,
but that's. I mean, he's still getting a cut. So I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I
he's still
think he
getting
prob-
that card. Yeah,
I think he probably would give you. I think he would give you those trust factor pieces to help you kind of kick off.
I think too as well. I know him, so I think he would. But it also
Mm,
depends on my budget, how much I've got behind me, which
mm,
I haven't put to a single loan yet.
yeah,
So I've got to be aware of, and I've heard of once again horror stories of brokers going out of business as well,
yeah,
committing too much too soon. So, and I know that I don't have a big budget. If we're talking anything like 5K, I wouldn't. If I chuck 5K in now, there's not much left for me to work off. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sure, sure, sure. No, well, that makes sense. I think, and that's why I've done I'm creating the done with you option as well, which is
Mm,
which is really all about getting helping people do all this for themselves.
mm.
Um, And I'm also thinking of creating a kind of more budget option even in the done with you. So that would be even less than sort of the 3 grand for a few months.
I was just thinking if you did something like that, and then maybe you could work your way in as in because I'm getting you as a budget thingy, I get maybe whatever a cut of your lead when you convert. I don't know, it could be something that you can, because when you first start out, right, your budget isn't very big, but as you convert, obviously it's going to grow. So it's kind of like helping someone get a leg up, and then
Yeah,
but you're taking a small cut of their conversions because, or you obviously have a lot of faith in your product and your offerings.
yeah,
So I was thinking, yeah, that's something that might be something that you could offer someone if they're starting out. Okay,
yeah.
maybe
Probably.
for a brief period of time, not that much.
Yeah, yeah. We don't do it like that because uh I don't know how good people are going to be at
Mm,
executing and closing. Um, and that's completely beyond my control. So
mm,
the only way we could do something is if we said, okay, we can do the ad campaign at sort of close to cost, and then we'll take a pay per lead approach. And so
mm. A
that
paper lead conversion or paper lead, just a paper lead. Oh, you're
just
getting paper lead.
just pay
Okay.
per lead, because we
Yeah.
can't, again, it comes back to like the conversion is we
It's
can't,
there's
do
no
you know what I mean?
control in that. Yeah.
It's not in our control. What is in our control is, putting qualified appointments into your system. And again, and then it comes down to, well, how well qualified are they, right? Because you don't want to be paying for a lead that, you're only, converting, 1 in 10. You want to be getting leads that are, ideally you want to be converting sort of 1 in 5, or even better than that, ideally. But again, that generally takes some years of your experience to be making those conversions. So it becomes, there are ways that we can reduce the initial output. Um, and it's probably that model of like cost, or like close to cost, and then pay per lead. Um,
And I'm confident I can increase my ability to close the lead because I've got the mentor to fall back on. I'm not doing
yeah,
it on my own.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So if
yeah,
I've
yeah,
got
yeah.
and if I can get it, like spring board off him,
Mm,
whatever that needs to be done, my
yeah,
conversion rate will be high. And coming from a sales background and having worked in roles which is commission only,
mm,
I've got that mindset that convert or die sort of thing.
yeah, right.
So
Yeah,
it's a case of I have it's in my interest anyway to convert.
yes,
It's not
yes,
in
yeah,
my interest to waste leads and not do anything with it
that's
because
right.
I've already got that mindset, that muscle memory that hey, a lead, if there's value in it, is there to convert, not to doing numerous sales techniques, assumptive close, this that to convert them. It's not
Yeah,
in my interest not to convert.
no, that's right.
And
That's right.
if I've got a problem, then yes, I've got a mentor to lean on. So my
Mm.
conversion rate, even though I'm new, should be higher than someone who's got sort of no one there to
For sure.
sort of like
Yeah, yeah, for
lean on.
sure. I think
Yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense. Peter, we're going to have to leave it there
yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm
sure,
ready
sure.
for the next call, and I'm sure you got to
I
get out
better.
there and hustle.
Yes.
Uh, so look, let's jump on tomorrow. You're going to come along tomorrow?
So same link, same everything.
Same link, same everything.
Yep.
Yeah,
Should be here to yeah, like I know it's 12:30 to 1:30 Sydney time, so yeah, I'll be there too.
awesome. All right,
Done.
I'll look forward to it. We'll
I'll
have a
see you
chat.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Take care.
Cheers. Bye
Okay.
bye.